Hi fellas, Nige back here again, and today we've got another inbox review for you, and it's something a little bit special. So I have got the GWH Hobbies F-14B Tomcat in 1/48 to review for you. Now this kit, okay, is RRPs in the UK are around about £100. The importer, Tiger Hobbies, has managed to get a really good deal for the UK market. Okay, so that being said, companies like ours, the Crafting Well and whatever, can offer you a really good price. At the moment, we're selling this from £85 to £90. Okay, so that puts it right in par with the Tamiya kit. Okay. Now, yes, AMK have also got their kit. AMK, it's a good kit, okay. It's got more detail than the Tamiya one. It's got like the flaps and slats on it, and stuff like that. It's got separate petals, so it's got more detail, but it can be a bit more of a challenging build. I believe this is going to fall in the detail parts, but also a good build. That being said, with the detail parts, okay, we've got a massive box here full of plastic. Okay, you also get some photo etch, okay, along with 3 different markings. In the AMK one, you only get the 2 markings. In the Tamiya one, I think it's 3 or 4. Okay, so what we'll do, I'll switch this overhead and we'll get cracking. This could be a long one, guys. Okay, so we're going to start with the instruction manual. Okay, and as normal with GWH Hobby, okay, you get an opening sheet like so, with all the colour call outs. So Mr. Colour and Vallejo, and some in the FS range, and then you get your lovely great big sprue map with all your sprues on there, and as you can see there's loads of parts on there. Okay, I don't know if they'll all be used. And then we've got straight into the actual build. Okay, and straight away you can see that obviously they've missed something. Okay, so part 1, okay, straight away they've put it in where they've done the seat. Okay, and then when we get to part 7 we'll have a look at it. So I'll just put that bit up there. So straight away you can see we move straight into building the bang seats. Okay, so this one has got some plastic harnesses by the looks of it. Okay, so that's new for me, but we'll have a look at that as we get through it. Okay then. So obviously they've put, there we are, it's pointing to that way, so it's just making out that with that one. Okay, yes, it's all the same. So, well, good on them for putting that in. I can't see any issues with that, but obviously you're building 2 anyway. Then we move into the actual cockpit. There's cockpit tub, adding the controllers, the bulkhead for the front to rear part, going through, that's showing a close-up of what the front should look like of that part. Then going on to the instrument panel conings, and again, well, I say again, I'm harking back to the AMK one. You can see it's got some of the texture on, okay, for the canvas covers. Putting the instrument panels on into the cockpit, how they all go together and how they all work. And then these are little decals, as you can see just there. Then moving on to how the cockpit will look once it's finished. Then we move on to the nose gear. Okay, so we've got the wheel bays going together like that, going all in with the different bits and pieces before that gets jointed to the bottom of the cockpit, and then that part is the part that goes on. So you'll see this bit here goes on the side there. So that could be is that for the refueling probe? I'm not certain, but it's some sort of bay on there. Then the two halves of the nose go together, leading to that, and then this panel sits into the nose like so. Before then, we move on to doing the windscreen, putting the windscreen on, but it doesn't actually, there it does, it tells you to put the windscreen on there, so you've got the front coving, windscreen going on, bits for the cockpit, and then moving on to the radar, okay, for the nose, before we then move on to putting the nose wheel bay doors on, okay. You can have them open or closed. Before then, you've got those two there. So overall, it is a little bit busy. This bit is especially, it's a little bit confusing, so be careful when you're following it and you shouldn't have a problem. We then move on to the lower fuselage, okay, some points to drill holes, and then we can start pouring different parts onto the kit, or on the engines, some panels, some ram intakes, okay. Moving on to the main wheelbase, just like so, with the separate cabling and all that sort of stuff. Again, onto the other one on the other side, then moving those, adding those to the actual belly part of the fuselage. Okay, so you can see them putting them on there. Before then moving on to adding the wing part. So as you can see here, we've got the main member, which these bits go in. I'm assuming that, like the Tamiya one, okay, they should be able to move, unlike the AMK one, which you have to put in whichever one you want to do it, the non-movable. Before then, we start joining the fuselage together, just there, and then we move on to doing the intakes, putting them together with the fans, the intake tunnel, which then joins into here. You can see we've got the two, which then join on to the fuselage. Those parts must be for the intake ramps that are there. Then we've got some other just little flaps and slats and vents to put on, some fins and other bits to cover up before we put the rear part of the fuselage on, where the engines then sit. We then move on to the engine, so we've got the tunnel, so very reminiscent of Tamiya, but Tamiya, this was all one piece, so you don't get the full engine like on the AMK one. We've then got the open and closed parts, okay, which then go onto the aircraft like so. Air brakes, before we then move on to the nose wheel. On nose wheel, we then move on to the main wheels, working his way through. It looks like we have got some weight on wheel, and we've actually got some decals to go on the actual tires. Then we attach those to the fuselage, okay, with the doors and all that sort of stuff for open or closed. We've then got the nose section joining on to the fuselage with the canopy going on, and then on to adding the horizontal and vertical stabilizers onto the fuselage. Again, very reminiscent of Tamiya for the attachment of these. I don't know whether there's any sort of grommet, can't remember what they're called, in there to be able to set them on and off like on the Tamiya one. We've then got to add some parts for the fueling probe. I'm hoping you can model it closed, okay, so I will be model it closed, and then before you put the nose cone on, either closed or open like the bottom with the boarding ladder. Now we move on to the actual wings. So you can see how much detail we've got going into these wings. We do have ones with all the flaps and slats, like these ones here, okay, and these ones up here. But looking at it, you have got ones where you've got everything all closed as well, okay, and then you can add whichever one you so desire. If you wanted them all extended, if you wanted it all closed up like so. Okay, looks like we've got a bit of P fret for on the actual louvers for the airbags, okay, on the rear of the aircraft. Fuel tank. Oh, they're the airbags. Sorry, they're the airbags. Missed them because they don't show them on here, so I just missed them. So you've got the different types of airbag for, and these different parts for whether you want the wings open or closed. Moving on to a fuel tank. And then we've got our AIM 7F, our AIM 9Ls, our AIMs 54Cs, and pylons. Unfortunately, it looks like these are all multi-parts. Yes, they're all multi-part that go onto there. So they're going to take some building and getting right. So it might be that you borrow some from the AMK one because they're all one part. Adding all the bits and pieces, then we've got the core call outs for the weapons, and then the stencil data. Okay, so that's the instructions. We've then got this lovely big sheet, two of them back, look straight. So we've got the VF 101 Grim Reapers. That's the one I built with the Tamiya one. Okay, on this side we've got VF32, okay, final Tomcat Cruise, and then on this one we have VF102, the Diamondbacks. Okay, that's quite a cool one. And on this side we have got the USS George Washington. So there's actually 4 markings. So this is a VF103. Okay, so some nice options there. So 4 options. Now I've already taken all of the bits out, the staples off the plastic, so we'll just start with one and work our way through. Okay, so this is sprue F. Okay, these are some of the wiring looms. Okay, hopefully you can see they're really fine and fragile. Some fins and bit pieces like that. So some really nice detail on there. Granted, some of this you're not going to see because it's going to be in the wheel bay, but you'll know it there. Okay, we get a box, and within this box, okay, we have our clear parts, so we'll get those out of the way. So sorry, I forgot this staple on this one. So very nicely done, really clean. Again, Tamiya-esque. Okay, and again, yeah, there's a seam that runs all the way around that have to be dealt with, but super clear. Also don't want to damage that. I'm just going to put that back in there. and put the box right out of the way. And then we've got this part. So this is the frame part of the canopy, and again it's really nicely detailed. So this is the upper fuselage, and you can see it's got a lot of nice rivet detail on there. Okay, the panel lines are really refined. Okay, lots of really nice detail. So where the wings go in, okay, we've got the bags that go there, and then the bit that goes on the top, there's actually some raised detail there. So looking at that, you should be able to have that off if you so wished. Okay, but again, some nice detail. So nice detail of some of the inner workings. Okay, and it looks like nice solid plastic, and I can't see anything really bad about this part. So next sprue, okay, we have some of the landing legs. So again, turn it over, some nice detail on here, some of the landing legs, the extended or not extended launch configuration for the catapult. So some really nice, lovely detail there. The cockpit, as you can see, a lot more canvas texture on this one than on the AMK one. There's some really crisp detail in this. Okay, you can see the lovely top drawer detail there of the instrument panel. Okay, and then we've got some panels that are going on here. You can just see some nice louvering. Okay, some top drawer detail there. Then we have a small bag with 4 sprues in. Okay, so we'll have a look at 2 of the sprues because the other 2 are the same, and all this one is just one of the AIM 9Ls as it says on there. Okay, so we've got the main body, and then we've got the parts that slot into the main body, and again some really nice crisp detail. And then we've got part of the engine. Okay, oh wow, that's really nicely done. Okay, some really fine molding there. Wow, that is superb, absolutely superb work. On there. Okay, that's away. Again, 2 sprues of the AIM 54C. Okay, and again some nice detail. Pity, well, it'd be nice if they could have put one of the, unless they have done, whether that's a seam line or a join line, I don't know. Okay, we'll have to check that out. And then on to the 2 bang seats, so both the same again, and the main parts look incredibly well done. Some nice detail on that seat there, as you can see. On the AMK one, I don't think it's got that texture. Okay, we've got some of the control parts, but this one has got an added bonus as it's got these super fine, really nicely molded seat belts. That's really well done. And then the grab handle at the top and the front. So the rear of the engines and some covers, okay, and you can see again, hopefully, some nice rivet detail on there and on there. some little add-on parts, okay, for vents and what have you. So the vertical stabilizers, okay, and again, some nice sharp detail, and I mean super sharp detail on there. Into the cockpit, and wow, I mean, yeah, seriously, wow. All the way onto the cockpit floor. So look at the cockpit floor there. We've got bracing, we've got rivets, some of the bulkheads just there, look. So that'll be the rear bulkhead, the seat sitting there. So all that is going to be hidden. That's not going to be seen. But look at it. Ow, wow. Then that bit's part of the nose where the radar is. Some of the bulkheads for the wheel bay. This is absolutely phenomenal work. Some more of the bulkheads there. I don't even know what that part is, but look at it. That's wow. So I'm just a little bit shocked how good this is. Really nice work. Okay, you can see there some parts of the wheelbase again. So now we're moving on to the intakes, okay, air brakes and other parts. One thing I am noticing, there is no injection pin marks where you don't need them. So there's none in this tunnel, okay? There's none on these doors. All right, absolutely brilliant. Well done, Great Wall Hobby. 2 pylons. And there's still more to go. So we've got 2 our intakes. Okay, so again, some really nice, sharp detail all over this. Okay. The only problem I envision is you can just see down in there. I don't know if you can actually. They are 2 pin marks. But I don't know whether that's going to be a thing. But that actually, because it's a flat surface, should be fairly easy to get rid of. Two sprues for the AIM 7, and again the fins are really fine. Some, at least the body's a whole body, so you haven't got to sand it, but lining the fins up, that might be a little bit of an issue. A bag with fuel tanks in. Okay, so 2 fuel tanks and some parts of the pylon. Again, some really sharp, nice detail on there all the way around. We have some parts for some more weapons, so nose cones, some fins, some rear fins, one of these belly pylons that the F-14 has. That is absolutely beautiful detail on there. Really is nice. Moving on to engines. Okay, so 2 sprues. So we've got the separate petals and the actual internal workings. So for the open and the close, and the petals look lovely. And then you've got the parts that go inside, and you can see they're absolutely beautiful. They are really, to be fair, that's reminiscent of the AMK, but they at Great Wall Hobby have done it 10 times better. It looks so much more crisp and clean. Now we've got horizontal stabilizers. Okay, some wheels, which the wheel hubs just look lovely. Look at that. And they have got, it has got Goodyear on there. Well, Goodyear. Okay, so you can just see that on there. And then we have the engines. Okay, the rear of the engines. And look, wow. My camera's not really doing that justice. That's absolutely sublime. Now, and the only problem is you're going to get a seam line joining them together. That's a shame. It's a pity we couldn't have done something like that, but I suppose, you know, getting that sort of detail in there, that's what you're going to have. Yeah, and you've got weight on wheel as well. So that's 2 of them. We're moving on to some of the wings parts now. Okay, so we've got the airbags, and look at that. Okay, texture on the airbags, like on the real thing. Okay, these parts, these fillets that go in for where the bags are, so the wings would stick out here. Okay, so they'll come down this way. We've got some intake ramps, and again some lovely detail on all of those parts. Some of the actual control surfaces themselves. Okay, so the slats and the flaps, and again you can see this lovely detail running down it. Okay, absolutely superb. Now I don't know, that bit's gonna sit on top of that, so you're not going to bother about any of that, but it's just got that, it's just that strengthening parts in there. It's absolutely beautiful. Next up, some more small parts. So part of the landing ladder, the rear canvas cover, and again it's actually got the canvas markings on there. Really nice. Belly of the beast, as they say, and again you can see some really sharp detail all the way down on this. Okay, so in the wheel wells, on the belly itself, all the way down. Another part of the wings, so let's have a look at these ones. Okay, so again, these I assume are going to be for closed parts. Okay, and then we've got leading edge parts just here, so you don't have to worry about, I didn't know it bent like that. You don't have to worry about getting rid of the seam line on the front of the wings, because you will lose some of this detail. But nicely done. Other parts of the wings, so these for the flaps and the slats, okay, to be extended. And I've got 2 more parts over there. So over here we've got the nose and the belly of the nose. Okay, and that's the rear of the cockpit and the nose. I have it to slot in there, so it slots nicely into the actual part, and you can see some lovely detail in here again. So all that work on that belly plate. Again, some of these belly pylons, and again some really nice detail. Some more of the control surfaces, the other bags. I make sure these, well, I'm not certain. I don't know which one's going to be the ones that are pumped up and which ones are not. But again, you can just see that Great Wall Hobby have gone that extra mile. Again, some of the leading front slats and some of the parts that go on to be able to use them extended. Right, we have just all joined together, so just bear with me. I've got two here, pylons, okay, and again, hopefully you can see some of that detail that's on there. And then one for the actual control panels, and again, it's super sharp molding. Really is top draw. So next on to the decals and the photo etch. So we'll just open these up, put that in there. So photo etch, get 3 parts, okay, for the radar, some parts for with fins and all that sort of stuff on, okay. And then onto the decals. We'll just have a look at the main decals for now. So designed by Galaxy Model, so same people that designed the AMK ones, but these look so much better than the AMK one. Excuse me. Okay, they look really top draw. So that's it. Hi guys, so that, wow. I have built the Tamiya kit, and the Tamiya kit, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely beautiful, but lacking in some details. Now you can buy the Tamiya kit with the launch parts, so with the flaps and slats extended, but I think that's an extra 15 quid on top of what you normally would pay, so that's pushing that up to close to £100 if I remember rightly. The AMK one, you can get it from £50 to £60. It's got some beautiful detail in there, but some of it's a little bit soft. Watch out for my video, which will be following this one next week. Okay. Yes, it's cheaper. I've heard it's a little bit more challenging to build. I've just heard that recently, but overall, it's a decent kit. Moving on to this one. This, for me, is probably the best kit I have ever seen. Obviously, I've not built it, but the plastic itself is far beyond anything I've seen other than Eddard's Spitfires and Warren's. And they're not better, they're just different, okay? They're different. They've got no end of surface detail on there. The Tomcat doesn't have a load of rivets, okay, so that's modelled correctly. But the detail in the instrument panels, the wheel wells, the texture on the instrument panel covers, all fabric, same as on the airbags for the wings, it's all done beautifully. And not once did I see any injector pin marks that will cause a major issue on rounded surfaces, in wheel wells, where you've got to get rid of them, on doors or anything like that. Yes, there are some on the intakes, but that's on a flat surface where you can get in there and sort them out. The rest, none. So that it's got that far above Tamiya and AMK. Okay, AMK have got injection pin marks in hard to reach places, hard to deal with places. So it makes it really, really hard to deal with, hard to sort out, and all that sort of stuff. So if I was gonna build an F-14 kit, being what I know now, I would probably build this one. And remember, for us in the UK, you're going to get this 30 to 40% cheaper than anywhere else, because the Tiger Hobbies have fetched it in at a reasonable price, which means we can pass that price onto you, that saving onto you. Okay, so instead of paying the £100 to £110, maybe £150 mark, £15 mark, you'll be able to get this for 90, 85, 90 quid, or somewhere like that. Okay, and as point in fact, we have this kit on our website. If you want to go click the link, okay, and that'll take you to the website where you'll be able to purchase this. Okay, and wow, what a brilliant kit, well worth it, truly well worth it. Anyway, that's it for now. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye.